I wrote what I just said, and then I can't read. Okay, so anyway. So Christy Anderson has spent 20 years in corporate leadership at places like Banner Health and Target, and then she made the brave decision to take all of that and build something that goes much deeper. She is a leadership coach and energy practitioner who works with the whole person. We are talking executive coaching, nervous system regulation, Reiki, sound healing, intentional environmental design. Her clients do not just level up their business, they come home to themselves. Christy, come on up. And I can attest to the power this woman has. Love you. You're welcome. All right. Meredith Madsen is our next panelist, someone who I have sat across from, or who has sat across. Wow, you guys struggle, bless. I think I need my readers is the problem. Okay, I'm gonna try again. Our next panelist is someone who has sat across from more founders than most of us will ever meet and has seen exactly what is working and what is not. Meredith Madsen is the founder and CEO of Lake Road Consulting, and she has spent over 20 years in operations, process improvement, and business consulting. She is the woman you call when your business feels like it's running you instead of the other way around. Anyone relate to that? She brings clarity to complexity. She streamlines what is broken, and she helps founders move from working in their business to actually leading through it. Welcome, Meredith. Come on up. And if you're not sensing a theme, I work with the women that I love in this room. This is my COO as well. So she offers fractional COO services, and I utilize her as much as I can because I love her. Okay, our next panelist is proof that you can build something scalable, lead a high-performing team, and still show up as a present mom. Lauren Theobald is a mother of 3 and a multi-unit owner of Face Foundry. Have you guys been to Face Foundry? Yeah, I love it. Locations here in Arizona. She has built her business on strong culture, operational excellence, and the belief that self-care should be accessible to every woman. She knows what it takes to create the life she wants. And, oh my gosh, you guys, I seriously can't read today. No, I'm okay. I got it. I'm almost done. She knows what it takes to create meaningful client experiences while growing a business that actually supports the life she wants. Lauren, come on up. I'm going to add readers to my things to bring to Foundress. And this dear gal is also in my lead group, or I'm in hers, one or the other. And so we meet once a month and talk about these things. We've had some really amazing conversations and watched each other grow leaps and bounds this year. So it's been a lot of fun. So thank you, ladies. Let's give one big round of applause to these gals.
Oh my gosh, how do you even? Stacey,
okay, and
not
then
expose readers. Do you want Stacey's readers? She set them on your phone.
Yeah, thanks, babe. This is true friendship right here.
My feet can't even reach the bottom.
Okay, I'm denying that I need them. Clearly, I do. And then for those of you who don't know me, my name is Colby Arnold. I am the owner of Foundress and host of the Tits Up podcast, which we are actually live recording today. So this will be on the podcast as well. And it has been a journey that I am just so passionate about. I love having these conversations with amazing women and hopefully give you guys shortcuts so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that we've made, right?
Absolutely.
Amen? Awesome. Amen. All right. Let me hold, please.
Let me put my readers on.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with Joe. I look professional. These are like real strong, babe. Might give me a headache. Okay. So we called this panel Real Stories, Scalable Systems, CEO Level Momentum. But before we get to the how, I want to talk about the why. So when you were running your business without actual systems in place, what did a typical Tuesday look like for you?
Is this on?
Yes.
Okay. Blurry. Like I was living Groundhog's Day over and over and over, like that movie. Just lost and swirling.
Mm-hmm. I have a much longer answer.
That's okay.
And I also do not like speaking in public, so forgive me. So my Tuesdays were actually pretty good because I love, as Coley mentioned before, I love systems and processes and checklists and all those things. When my Tuesdays didn't look good, it was because I was falling into the hustle culture and really feeling like I had to be back-to-back planned. Now, it was all checklist out and on a very pretty calendar, and it was all organized, but I wasn't leaving myself any room for my family, myself, and just, the flexibility as things change throughout the day.
The first word that comes up for me is reactive. Reacting to everything. The first thing I did was look at my phone when I woke up. The last thing I did before I went to bed was also look at my phone. So I think a lot of what that built up was just a lot of anxiety, and everything felt like a fire, and everything felt high priority, and everything felt like I needed to get everything done. So I think without systems, I just felt like I needed to do everything now. And it talk about alignment, that was like totally non-functioning alignment. I was like, how do I function at all as a human in this sort of environment? So yeah, that was it for me.
I love it. And when I met Meredith Madsen, who I later immediately hired her as my CEO because we had one conversation. She's like, "You're a fucking mess." It's like, "Thank you, I know." But what I was in the cycle of, I felt like I was working 85 hours a day because everything was in my head. And so I was constantly going, did I respond to that email? Did I call that person back? Did I send that invoice? Did I follow up with that person? The list was running through my head. And at the end of the day, my head would hit the pillow and I was like, I'm freaking exhausted. Oh, and also I got nothing done today, right? Because it was all up here. And so I had one conversation with Meredith and she's like, oh no, we have to write all that down. And I was like, and I almost just felt so stupid at first because I was like, well, why didn't I think of that? But you're in survival mode. I was in survival mode. And so I would wake up on a normal day and go, I have a million things that I have to do. I don't know where to start. And like, I couldn't get it out of my head. And then who has the time to actually get it out of your head, right? It's like with my children, I'm like, well, I'll just load the dishwasher because it's just going to be easier for me to do that than teach you how to do it, right? So we put off doing the things that will take a long time at first and then save us hours in the back end. And that's what I found myself falling into, that pitfall over and over and over again, because I couldn't see the clear picture when my brain was full of all the things I had to constantly think about. Okay, so Christy, I want to start with you. You work with the whole person, nervous system, energy, rituals. So when a woman has zero rhythm in her business, where does it show up first for her? Where do you see it? Is it in her body, her revenue, or her relationships?
Her body, 100% every time. That's what I see myself. That's what I see in my clients. Your revenue and your relationships are going to be lagging indicators, right? That's going to come, unfortunately, but it's going to come a little bit later. Your body will give you information in real time. And what I feel like I've learned and I see in a lot of my clients is we got really good at overriding that and not listening to our bodies. And then we almost prided ourselves on that. So then when the revenue started to not be there or the relationship started to crumble, we were genuinely surprised. And I have a time that I'd like to share a quick story with you guys of when that happened for me. For 24 years of my career, I ran, like I sprinted through my career and I was incredibly successful. Coley mentioned I worked at Target for 17 years. I was a buyer. And then I moved down here and I led really big initiatives at Banner Health. And I was managing $1 billion P&Ls and I was running corporate level strategies at Target. And then I came down here and I didn't slow down. And I went right into working at Banner and I launched an innovation function and I worked with our board to develop a 10-year strategy for the organization. And I invested millions of dollars in really cool startups and fun innovation projects. And it was just go, 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 go. And I was good at it. And then I got laid off. And I wanted to step into my business full time and become a full-time coach and an entrepreneur. And I thought, oh, this is so great. I've been working for 24 years. I'm going to take like a week, maybe 2 off and just Netflix and chill, stay in my jammies all day. Like I've earned this from 24 years of working. And so I tried that. And I couldn't function. I couldn't even watch Netflix. The pajama part worked really well because I couldn't get dressed either. But my body was like, haha, joke's on you. And it took over. And for 6 weeks, we shut down. And it was like I hadn't been listening to her for 24 years. I'd been overriding her. And finally, she was like, screw this lady, I'm taking over. And she shut me down for like 6 weeks. And all I could do was rest. And at the end of those 6 weeks, she was like, thank you. Now you may go be an entrepreneur and a coach. And I was genuinely surprised because I hadn't been listening to her for so long, right? And I prided myself on being busy and being productive and being promoted and all the things, right? And producing the results. And I never once listened to her. And so I learned that lesson real hard. And then I brought that into what I do. And so now, as a coach, I help people at the intersection of listening to yourself, creating that awareness and clarity, but also listening to your body and creating that awareness and clarity communication. And then listening to your environment and creating that awareness and clarity. Because when you put all three of those together, you can really move in an aligned way. And that's what I have learned throughout my own life and what I bring to my clients.
That's so good. And it's so relatable. And I think this season I am working with my naturopath who's also in this room. I told you I love these ladies so much. My whole community is right here in this space. But we were working on rest. I think oldest daughter, I don't know if you guys struggle with this too, but I thought I had to earn rest. And so every time I would go do something, I was like, oh, well, I'll just do this one little thing first and then I'll sit on the couch and chill, right? And my body never really learned how to rest. And we do ignore the signs. Like I wear my Oura ring and I'm like, it's like, you're stressed. I'm like, I am? Oh, okay. And I didn't realize that even though I was resting my body, my nervous system was still up here working and buzzing, and I'm still working on that. It's still something that I'm actively being intentional about, because we're so used to having that hustle culture that our actual bodies and our souls are like, what the fuck is going on? What is happening with you, right? And it doesn't know how to come down and bring down. So I think that ignoring our own bodies and our signals that our bodies are telling us, because our culture has taught women that our worth is from what we produce. And when we stop listening to that and we start working on listening and being in tune to our bodies, that is when I believe the magic happens in our business. And we can be calm and still be very successcul. And I think that's a lie that we've believed our whole life.
Yes, agreed. Big lie that we've been told and have believed. And we can't, we have to build time in, right? To check in with our body. Because I love your story. Like you're, oh, I'll do it after this one thing, right? And then your Oura ring would have to tell you. And I just ran for 24 years. And then my body was like, screw you, lady, I'm taking over. And thank God it did, right? Because I couldn't have kept running at that pace. It's not healthy for us. And my business would not have been successful, right? And so I love that part of your story too, is like your business skyrocketed when you took a breath. We got to breathe. Yeah, when you slow down. Yeah, when we breathe.
And that's against everything that we're taught.
Yeah.
And shown. Yes. Because the entrepreneurs that I admired, unfortunately, there just wasn't very many women that was in my sphere. And so you're watching these men who have different responsibilities and they show up differently in this world, and they have their zone of geniuses. And I'm so grateful for all of them as mentors. But what I didn't see was what happens when I get a call from school and I have to come home, but then I'm also responsible for my clients and delivering and the things that I'm supposed to be doing, that falls on me. And I'm grateful for that. I want to be that person, right? I want to be there for my kids. But my body didn't know how to switch back and forth and be present and feel okay that I was stepping away for a second. And when I was able to slow down with your help and my therapist's help, I have a team around me now. And I'm so grateful for that. But when I was able to step away, that's when I did see the growth of my business. And I think we hold on so tightly to our success and our production. And a lot of us are not taught how to let go.
Yeah. I want to go back to her story where like all her people are in here, right? And she has a team around her. I think that's one of the things I've learned from working with Meredith is like, you can't just have the energy work, right? The awareness, the coaching, whatever. And you can't just have the systems without checking in with your body, right? Like we've got to have all of these things. And that's also how I live my life is my team is my coach. My team is my therapist, who we share our therapist. You guys have heard us say that. And I have others on my team that I check in with because I can't do this by myself and I can't just do one part of it. So I love that we all have three very different pieces that we bring to this table and experiences, because it really does take a full team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's why I believe community, you'll hear me preach on community from the rooftops, because it is the community that has helped push me to that spot. And I think that's another lie that we believe as women is that we're supposed to be able to do it ourselves, right? Pull up your bootstraps, get it done. And we are all very capable of doing that, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be owning businesses. And so just because we can doesn't mean we should. or
Yeah,
have to, right?
exactly.
Okay, so Christy, I want to talk about business rituals specifically because I think people hear that word and think like a morning routine, right? And you're like, well, that's nice, and that's not going to work for me. How many have you guys read the book of like, you need to be up at 5 a.m. and make your bed? And I'm like, I'm a 7, you guys, Enneagram. That doesn't work for me. I'm not going to do that. I roll out of bed at 8 a.m. and I'm like, all right, what are we doing today? You know, but they're like, I think some of us put off implementing systems and rituals because it feels cheesy, or we've tried that morning routine, or we've tried the night routine and it hasn't worked for us.
Yep.
So what are the actual rituals and rhythms inside a business that tell your nervous system that you are the CEO and are not just the person putting out fires all day? And what happens to a woman when those are completely missing?
Okay, so 2 things. The first one is putting margin in your schedule. And what I mean by that is that busy is not a badge of honor and margin is not a luxury. It's what keeps those unexpected things that pop up in all of our days and all of our lives from affecting the rest of your week. We have to build cushion, extra time into our schedule. I have a time block schedule from 5 a.m. when I wake up till 9:30 when I go to bed. But that doesn't mean I'm actively doing something very specific every single minute of the day. Sometimes it's driving time, like to get here. I gave myself an hour. It took 45 minutes. I had 15 extra minutes. That's margin, right? Sometimes when I do a task, I will say, I want this to take me 45 minutes. I'll put it on my calendar for an hour, because for those extra 15, it's maybe in case it goes longer, in case I really get into it and I want to keep going. Or I need to go take my dog outside to play for a few minutes, right? Like I have breathing room in my calendar, but it looks on the surface like it is back to back to back to back to back. And at corporate, I was literally back to back to back to back to back because I didn't control my calendar. At least I told myself I didn't. Now in hindsight, I could have had a lot more control. But that's what I mean by margin, is build yourself in some breathing space and some space for wiggle room, or if things go wrong, or you just need to take care of those extra things. Throw a load of the laundry in the dryer. That takes 5 minutes, right? I never used to put 5 minutes in my calendar for that, so my laundry was never done. And I've learned to put that margin in my calendar. Now, the second thing is having intentionality. And Coley said that word earlier. For me, that looks like knowing where I'm going, why I'm going there, and how the heck I'm going to get there, and then connecting that to my calendar. And I've said the word calendar a lot on purpose. I live by my calendar. She's my best friend. I am her boss, but then she tells me what to do when I give her the right direction.
So true. It's so
right?
true.
That, like, I don't know how else we live other than having something to help us figure out how to flow through our days intentionally, it going in the right place, right? Otherwise, you're flowing through your days and it's scattered, or it is, like I mentioned earlier, like a Groundhog's Day. Like, wait, what did I do yesterday? Did it get me anywhere? Did it get me closer to my goals? Wait, what are my goals? Right? Like it's unintentional. And we've all done that, right? And so I've learned that when my calendar is my best friend and I'm the boss of her and I put some time and love into her, she'll then tell me what to do every day when I look at her. So it's really, really tricky that way.
I love that. I'm the boss of her.
I am.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
I think we often forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we let our clients, our
Yeah.
schedule, our family dictate what we do. And Meredith has had to remind me this a lot. Like there's been times where I'll never forget this. 2 years ago, we were planning the year for Foundress, and this was in like January. And I was like, oh, bummer. The August meeting is on my son's first day of kindergarten. I'm going to miss it. Too bad. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, well, we always have Foundress on this day. And she goes, no one cares but you. She's like, you're the boss. Change it. And I was like, why did that just blow my mind? Right? But we get in this routine and we get stuck that like we let other people dictate what happens in our life and what happens in our day, and we don't take control. So I love that. You are the boss of your calendar.
Yeah.
You are the boss of your calendar, right? We are the bosses.
And be the boss, right?
Yes.
And then I love the word rituals. And I ritualize a lot of my time because it feels more intentional. And it's like that new signal to my brain that when I see my turquoise colored thing called ritual on my calendar, It's when I can breathe and let down and my nervous system gets to take a break for a minute and I connect with my long-term vision, or I connect with my monthly reflection time or whatever it's telling me to do. And I wanted to call your attention to a really cool resource that I put in the chapter of the Founders book that we wrote last year. If you guys don't have it yet, it's called Habits of Highly Effective High Achieving Women, Habits of High Achieving Women, on Amazon. There's a whole chart in there that I built around how to put rituals into your calendar and then how to use the time. It's not like, hey, just go schedule some cool time and color code it. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with the time, right? So I went further and I said, here are some of the questions I ask myself and how I use the time I put in my calendar to be intentional and to be more connected and aligned in my life. So it's a great resource for you guys if you don't already have the book. And then I just wanted to finish with the last half of your question. When we don't have these, right? Like when we're not being the boss of our calendar, when we don't have that dedicated ritual time in our calendar, what I've seen with my clients is they're always starting over. That's what I hear them say. I feel like every day I'm starting over. I feel like every week I'm starting over. And I know who I want to be and I know where I want to go, but they're not connected, right? And there's no margin and there's no intentionality. And so, yeah, we're going to feel like we're always catching up or struggling to catch up, right? And the difference is moving from surviving your week to leading and guiding yourself and your business when you put rituals in place.
Yeah, and that really is like stepping into that CEO role, right? Like a CEO is supposed to be doing less than the implementers.
Yeah.
And have that higher
Bigger
view
picture.
Of it, bigger picture, and we don't allow ourselves to do that. We don't allow ourselves the time to do that. So that's really important. I love that. Okay, so before I ask Meredith her question, there is a story I have to tell you. Christy was doing an exercise with us, our ambassador team at Foundress, and she had these pictures that she would hold up, and she's like, I want to know what feelings do these pictures evoke? Jess, do you remember this? And there were some strong opinions, let me tell y'all, with this group of women.
They were like archetypes, pictures of archetypes.
It was like a dad pushing a kid on a bike, and there was a warrior
on a horse.
And there was on a horse, and like all these pictures. Anyway, we all related to them differently, right? And there was one picture, and it looked like it was like inside a computer, where it was just like rows of like lights and like, you know what I'm talking about, like the pixels and stuff. And all of us in this room, there was like 10 of us. We all went, oh, like we had like the visceral reaction to this like linear, like systemized picture. And Meredith goes, oh, that's my favorite one. And I was like, well, that's why I hired you. Because you are just created in a different way of like, I think a lot of times entrepreneurs just, we start our businesses because we have a passion and we want to help others.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we're creative and we don't have the desire, I think, to be like tied down by systems. And I remember I definitely pushed back a lot when I first hired you. And I was like, oh no, I don't want it to tie me down. Like, don't make me a system. Don't make me a calendar. Don't make me, because I was like, I need the freedom to be able to do whatever the hell I want. She's like, yeah, but
ask her how many tabs she had open on her Internet Explorer.
I hear you're smarter the more tabs you have. So there you go. My IQ is very high. Thank you. But it was just so interesting. It was such a visual picture of like how repulsed we all were, and then every single one of us went around the room going, but I need that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it, but I need that in my life and in my business. And it was just such an interesting, like, it like lit you up and excited you. So I just love that picture. Okay, so my question for you, Meredith, is that you've been doing this for 20 years, operations, process, consulting. When you first look inside a founder's business, what is the thing you almost always see that is missing? And how does that one thing ripple into everything else?
I think that's a great question. And I see this in both service and product businesses. Everybody always says, I have process. And you do. It's just in your head. It's not written down anywhere, and you have nothing to support it that makes it repeatable. You don't have any checklists. You don't have, and I'm also very system agnostic. You can use whatever you want. You can use Asana. You can use a notebook. I mean, you have a hard copy calendar, like whatever it is, it has to be something that you use. You have to have templates. Nobody has templates. If you rewrite the same email more than 3 times, that should be a template. And so, I think it's like one of those things where people are like, oh, I have a system, I have a process. And then we dive in. and it's just not documented anywhere. And like Coley was saying, I know it can feel terrifying, right? Like, oh, and now I'm like, what's the word? It actually
Tied
gives
down.
you freedom. Yeah, you'll feel tied down, but it's not. It actually will give you freedom. Like, I'll never forget with Coley, once we got her all organized and systemized, and like in this meeting, right? She would plan this meeting every month and start with her checklist every month. I'm like, okay, well, this is the same thing every month, right? Like, you should just wake up in the morning and go execute the checklist. You shouldn't have to rewrite the checklist. And I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going with that, but
mind blown.
The
when
freedom,
she sat down, and our first process was, and I think too, like, you hit the nail on the head when you said, like, every entrepreneur will say, like, I have systems, because you have a process, right? We all, if you don't have a process at all, we should talk later. But most of us in this room have some sort of process that gets the client from like acquisition to delivery, right? So we know at least the route that they will take. It might not be systemized, it might not be written down, but we at least know there is a process. And so oftentimes I hear all the time entrepreneurs say, well, I have systems. And I'm like, okay, great. So what's the process? Like, when I sign up, what's the order of operations? And they look at me like, oh, I don't know. And that was what was, for me, was the hardest part. It was like, again, it was all in my head. And so it was like a hamster wheel going round and round in my head, because I constantly had to be thinking about everything and making sure I was touching every point in my process. We had a speaker one time at Founders, and she said, if you have a client issue, which we all have them, it comes up every time. If I look at my processes and I've done my process from start to finish, I can feel really, really confident that I delivered exactly what I told them I would deliver. Then I know that issue with the client is probably on them and not me. But if I have to look back at my process and go, did I remember to send that follow-up email? Did I remember to send the invoice? Did I remember to do this? Then they probably have a right to be frustrated, because they didn't get the system delivered in the way that I had said that I was going to deliver it. And so that is, I think, the number one way we can tell like how our systems are functioning in our business. You're going to get that feedback from your clients, right? They're going to tell you whether your system is built in a way that works for delivering that same thing over and over and over again. And
yeah, totally. And I think the other thing that's really important is, as entrepreneurs, you're all very creative, right? You started your business for a reason. And I think entrepreneurs, solopreneurs are just creative beings. By not having a system in place, it's actually taking you away from what you love, and it's taking you away from the creativity. Even though it seems terrifying to put a system in place, it actually makes it so operational. You don't even have to think about it. And the things that you actually don't like to do, right, are the things that you don't want to spend time on. But if you can get it set up so that you can either hire it out or have it super simple, right, where it doesn't take a lot of your time, so you can spend all the time on the creative, which is what you love anyways, I think it's a win-win.
Absolutely. I've set up my business, thankfully, with Meredith's help, where my assistant Molly, she's the best, but she could run this without me. Like, if I wasn't here, she wouldn't stand up with a microphone. But that she sets up, this whole thing runs by itself, and I get to show up and take the microphone. And because we've worked so hard on making our systems run, right? The other day I went to lunch with Jess. We had a 3-hour lunch because I knew that Molly was taking care, and she's just following the checklist, right? So once you have that in place, it gives you the freedom. Like, now my job is literally to meet with women entrepreneurs. I said that to Jess the other day. I'm like, pinch me. Like, is this real life? Because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But what happened when I started my business 9 years ago, I was stuck in the nitty gritty. So I started this to support women. Guess what I was not doing? Supporting women. I was making slides. Dear God, help me. Technology is my worst thing I could possibly do. I was spending hours making a freaking slide deck where it takes Molly 20 minutes to update it, right? So it's like, if we can get these things in place, then I had the freedom, and I now have the freedom to go and do why I started this business, which is to actually have FaceTime with these amazing women in this room, because I know that it's being taken care of. I know it's running. Thanks to Meredith. Love it. Okay. So my next question is, there's a difference between being busy and being operational. You guys, I have had conversations with thousands and thousands of business owners between doing Junk in the Trunk for 13 years and Foundress for 9 years. I will tell you 99% of the entrepreneurs I meet are busy. And I was one of them. So I'm speaking this, from experience. We feel busy, and that is not the same thing as being productive. And when you get caught in that trap of being busy, sorry, I'm on a soapbox here. I could talk about this. I could clearly talk about this all the time, but we get stuck in the trap of being busy, and we're putting out fires, and we're not actually managing our business and becoming the CEO of our business. So my question to you is, how does a woman actually know, like honestly really know, because we all think we're being productive, which one she is right now?
So I think it goes to your numbers. You have to look at your revenue and your income and your hours. Who tracks their hours here? Raise your hand. Okay, 6 of you out of 80 people. So I think that's one of those things, like, you're busy, you're back to back, right? Like, you are doing things during the day. Some days you're going to have a good day, some days you're not, but you have no idea how much time you're spending on acquiring new clients, executing projects, admin, right? Like, making an Instagram reel just took you 4 hours, right? Like, and so
I can relate to that.
But if you're not, so I bet most of you are tracking your revenue and your income and things like that, right? But if you're not tracking the hours that go along with that, how do you really know, right? Like, and so I think that's huge. And
okay, so can I jump in here, because we did a podcast together. Meredith hates public speaking. I'm like, you're gonna do great. You're gonna do great. We did a podcast together, and I shared this story on the podcast, but I think it's worth repeating again, because oftentimes we think of that as a negative way of, like, if you're not tracking your hours, your revenue, there's like this negative connotation to it. I was talking to one of my best friends, and she called me crying one day, and she's like, I am just feeling so frustrated and lost in my business. I just feel like, she was a really successful photographer, and she said she was making a lot of money, and then she had kids. Well, guess what? That slows your life down. And she has chosen, she wanted to be home with her kids. And so she was just feeling like, I should be further along. I've been doing this for 10 plus years. What is wrong with me? I'm watching everyone else on Instagram go crush it and make millions of dollars. I'm like, well, first of all, they're lying to you. And second of all, let's talk through how often you're working and what you're making. So I was like, what are you making right now? And so she told me her number. I go, great. I said, I want you to be really honest, and I want you to tell me how many hours that you're working each week. Like, really honest. Not like thinking about work, but actually productively working. How many hours are you working? And she's like, well, probably like 3 hours a day. I go, okay, well, let's do the math for a second. I said, if you take that time that you're working and you figure out how much you're making, I said, what's your hourly rate? And she did the math real quick, and she goes, oh my gosh. And she was shocked. She goes, I'm making so much money. I go, I know. I go, now times that by 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, how much money would you be making if you were actually working full time? And she goes, I'd be a millionaire. I was like, exactly. And I said, but you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is work 3 hours a day. So let's celebrate the fact that you are making this much money in 3 hours a day that most people would kill to make that much money. Right? And so it's just perspective. And if you don't have any idea, because she was feeling like she was working all the time because she was thinking about her job all the time, but her actual productive hours were 3 hours a day. And so she walked away from that conversation like totally renewed and excited about her business, because she goes, oh wait, I am a badass. I'm making this much money by working 3 hours a day, and I'm at home with my kids, which is what I desired to do. And it just gave her a different perspective. So I think tracking our time is so important. You preach about it all the time. And we all go kicking and screaming because we hate doing it. But it is something that can reframe and get you more excited about your business and see the opportunities of like, hey, okay, if this is a machine, right? So if I'm making this much money 3 hours a day, if I need to make a little extra money, okay, cool. Let's add another hour a day. Cool, we're going to turn that machine on, right? Oh, guess what? It's graduation. I'm turning it completely off. I'm doing 0 things in May. I know what that's going to look like. And when you know the hours put in and the income coming in from those hours produced, you can turn on and off that machine to fit your life instead of the other way around. So I think that's just such an important thing that entrepreneurs need to be tracking their time.
Perfect. Thank you for the bow. And also, I think it's a great way to see where you can start to hire next. If you have systems
That's
in
good.
process, you have to have systems and processes first. If you don't and you hire somebody, you're going to churn, you're going to hire them, they're going to leave, you're going to fire them because you're sitting next to them. They don't know what to do, right? So you have to have that first. But when you're tracking your time and you're seeing, I'm spending this much on social media, or I hate taxes, or, this and that. And you can
Who
see.
says I love taxes?
I mean, I don't hate them much. There's a few people.
Jessica.
But, I think that's another way to really use the time that you have in the day, right? Well, again, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to be creative, you want to do these fun things. That's another easy way to chunk those out, right? It's all about the right person for the right role, right? You shouldn't be doing some of these things. Yes, when you start your business, you have to do a handful of these things, right, to get up and running. There's a lot of great people, even in this room, who offer fractional support for all those types of things that help you run your business that you don't want to do. So I think that's another key piece.
Can I add one thing on that I learned from her? Okay, so when I worked with Meredith and I did my time tracking, which I'd never done before, I also learned my energy, right? Like where my energy was, and not just where I was spending my time. I really was blind to where my time was going. And then I learned like where I want to be spending my time. And so I was able to build that perfect calendar. It's not perfect, but like my ideal calendar structure for myself, because I did that work with her of like time tracking and energy, like mapping to that.
Yeah.
So it's so expansive what she does.
Yeah. So good. Thank you. Thank you, Meredith. All right, Lauren, you are running multiple locations, leading a team, and raising 3 kids. I'm tired just reading that.
Yeah.
At what point did you look up and realize the way you were doing things just was not going to get you where you wanted to go? And what was that moment for you?
So it's funny because I feel like the theme is theming right now because I was not aware. I was not self-aware. I was like, everything's great. Our business is growing. We're meeting goals. Like, I didn't look at myself and realize, God, I am so burnt out. I am so unhappy. I was not present no matter where I was. I wasn't present with my team. I wasn't present at home. I had my phone in front of me with my kids. I had my phone in front of me when I was with my leadership team. So all those things were happening, but I didn't realize that it had such a negative impact on everyone around me and my productivity. I think where like the moment that it did come to realization, which is at a founders meeting, which is so wild, and we love founders so much for those reasons, but it took someone else's insight to be able to look at how I was operating and saying like, I feel like you're performing. I feel like are you happy? Like, how are you feeling? And I was like, oh, I have not tapped into that part of myself. I have not taken the time to like look inward and say, this isn't functioning for me, and I am not treating myself very well, and I'm not growing in the ways that I want to grow. And that took an outsider to like be vulnerable in that moment. And I did not know her. It was Jillian, and she is a coach, and she's like seriously incredible. I don't know if she's here today. But we had a 5-minute conversation, like what we had at the beginning. And that was it for me. And that was like open the funnel. And I started coming to more founders meetings, and I started to get more and more involved. And I think having those conversations, being vulnerable about where you are, being honest with yourself, like that was the first opportunity that going down that path took me to that realization.
So powerful. Okay, so last year you were in a room with a small group of women, and we spent dedicated time working through this exact thing. Without giving everything away, obviously, what did you walk out of that retreat with that you did not walk in with?
So I think the biggest thing, and it seems like a lot of this can be very overwhelming, what you're hearing, like scheduling out, planning all the things, planning every second of your day. I think I've been a member of Founders now for 3 years, and I have taken little itty bitty tiny baby steps along the way. And I know it can be very like, you want to do all the things right away. Like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm also going to do that. I'm going to be amazing. And then you do it for a week and you're like, that sucked. And so, I mean,
Yep.
anyone with me on this one? I mean, seriously. So I think on my journey, I was honest with myself. I was like, I'm going to do one thing.
Yeah.
What's one thing I can take away and like start to implement this month? And so when I joined the retreat, that was my thing. And I was like, I'm going to do the retreat and I'm going to take a thing out of this. And I think the most important thing for me was having that deeper connection and understanding with myself. We went through and utilized multiple different tools where you have a deeper understanding. Like, what do I need? What's important to me? How do I function at my best? I did not honestly know. And I just did and achieved because Enneagram 3 vibes. And so that ran my whole life. So I think going into that retreat, I came out with a deeper understanding of myself and how I could start treating myself, little habits I could build into my week. And I have started utilizing a very detailed calendar. And you know what? I block like 4 hours of time of like, you don't do shit this day.
Yes.
Like,
Amazing.
literally, you do nothing. This is like your time to just be. And it has been like such a breath of fresh air. Like, I remember even in our cohort, I was like, I didn't work 7 days a week this week. Yay! And I even come from a franchise system where we get a lot of stuff built out for us, but now I have a team of 32 and that's a lot. And so when I started in my business, and this is just for anyone who's scaling, I started and I was in the throes of all the details. I wanted to know how everything worked. I wanted to talk to every client. I wanted to talk with every esthetician. I wanted to have those connections. That was really important to me. And it is important when you're starting your business to be involved, right? But then once you get to the point where you have 10, 15, 20, 25 team members and you've made yourself so accessible, I would be getting texts night and day. Yeah. My managers would be like, what about this? And what about that? And I'm like, okay, I failed. Like this, like I got to take a step back and build in boundaries. And that's one thing we haven't really touched on yet. And if I'm like just going off course, please stop me.
Go, you're good.
But I think boundaries have been so important for me. And I always talk to my leadership team as to why. I build boundaries because of this. You should also build boundaries. Here's how we do that together. Like, I care about your well-being. Like, you don't need to be accessible 24 hours a day to your team. Like, no, it's not okay. And I will tell them, like, I'm turning off WhatsApp for you. Like, stop. Just stop. So I think it's so important of opening yourself, being vulnerable, establishing boundaries, blocking off those little nuggets of time. And I love the margin comment. I love that because I used to plan everything and I'd be late to everything. Yeah. And then I was like, I don't know. I said yes to everything. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're never present. Yeah.
Allowed to pee at Target.
I wasn't allowed to pee at Target for 17 years.
Yes. That's so good. And I think all while you're scaling, and I think it's so good for people to see like your excitement and drive. This woman is so determined. And also she's like, I'm raising babies and I want to be here and I don't want to miss it. And whether you have kids or not, you have a life outside of your business. If you haven't seen your friends in more than 2 months, it's time to reevaluate your business because you've created a job for yourself and not a business. And I think that is what I hope that you will walk away with today is going, you have the permission to create this business that will serve your life and not the other way around. Your life is not here to serve your business. And I see that over and over and over again with women and with the accessibility and the boundaries, my mentor, Natalie Ellis, who you'll hear from July 1st, she talks about all the time, you have to have a 10-year view when you're building something. I don't care if you're putting in a system in your place. I don't care if you're offering, like announcing a new offer. You have to think about in 10 years, what is this going to look like? And then you set those systems up to support what you want in 10 years from now, not right now. And if you start, that is one of the things I thankfully have had that advice early. And so I've been able to implement into my business. But oftentimes what I see entrepreneurs do is they're like, well, just in the beginning, how many of you have said that? Just in the beginning, while this is getting off the ground, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck.
Yeah.
It is so much harder to back out of that once you've given yourself a piece of yourself and that accessibility to whether it's your team, your clients, those around you, whoever it is, your social media, whatever you're giving people access to, it is almost impossible to pull away. So you need to have that foresight when you're building that you're putting those boundaries around yourself and your team, which I love so much. Like you're giving your team permission, because oftentimes when we hire people, they think they're like, well, I have to be the best, or I'm going to lose my job, especially with AI going in. Like I know you're dealing with that with your teammates. Like how do I protect my job? And by you going, I'm going to have boundaries, and I want you to have boundaries as well. That gives them the permission to not overdo it and go crazy as a woman, not pee for 17 years, right? We put ourselves in these situations because our world does not allow us to have permission for that. So I hope you hear that today out of anything.
Permission to
that
be.
you have permission to create this the way you want it to create and to support your life again and not the other way around. I love that so much. Thanks, Lauren. Okay, Meredith, really quickly, same question for you, because Christy and I had built, so last year we took a group of women on a retreat. We're doing, we kind of changed a little bit to more of a mastermind this year. It's coming up in September, but I think the power of getting in rooms with other women who are building what you're building, and I'm not talking about the same industry, same thing, but I have a group of friends I love dearly, and sometimes I talk and they're like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, right? My husband is not an entrepreneur, so I'll come home and be like, oh my gosh, this happened today. And he's like, okay, I don't
Call
know
IT.
you, right?
I am IT.
Totally. I am IT. Thank you. Unfortunately. But I think there is so much power in putting yourselves in a room with women like this that are building at the same level you're building. And so we specifically got in this room, we're trying to get founders out of survival mode and into real structure. Obviously, that's what you do for a living. But what was the thing that cracked open for you personally in that kind of structure with the women who are building and scaling?
Yeah. So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it done? Here.
It's not on.
Oh, here.
So we've all mentioned that everything is very intertwined, right? Our personal life, our business, our physical health, our mental health, our families, all of that. And that was kind of like, I knew that, but that was my aha moment. We did an exercise called Board of Directors. And I remember thinking like, oh, this is for my business, this is board of directors for my business. I'm like, sure, there was some ladies sitting around the table. Christy facilitates it. There's some ladies around the table that have to do with my personal life, but this is for my business. And as we went through the retreat, one of the things that kept popping up, my last year, I was really focused on being a present mom. I have, just finished kinder and just finished third. And so I just really last year wanted to like hone in on being a present mom. And literally the last day we're all sitting around the table and I'm like going through my board of directors and I'm like, oh, I am her. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it was like, oh, I'm already this person. I already am all of these things. I just have to go do it, right? In my business, in my personal life, and my health, and all of these things. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was just so wild because again, we all know that it's all interconnected, but it already lives within us. So
I love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So good. And I preach about this all the time, founders. We are whole women. We are not just business owners. And if you are in a room or a community or a group that just talks to the business owner, I just want you to be so cautious because as women, we need the support of our whole life. We show up and we are not separated from the different parts of us. And so that is one of the things that I learned. My business grew when I slowed down and learned about me, not my business. I didn't need another strategy. I didn't need another thing to do. I needed to learn who I was, what I wanted my life to look like, and then how to build it in the right way. And so oftentimes I see people do it backwards. They go, okay, I want to make $1 million. Great, I'm going to build the systems. And then they find out later that actually they want to work 3 hours a day and not, you know what I'm saying? Like that you can't have both. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. Right. So if you have these big dreams and you're driven, that's awesome. And then we're going to give up something else. Right. So who are you sitting with? And are they pushing you in the right direction that actually align with your values? And that's what I want you to hear today. We're going to give you some, we've given you some tools and things to implement into your business systems wise. But if you're not aligning your systems with your values, you might as well burn it down because it's not going to work for you. Mm-hmm. Like my girlfriend, she in her head thought she should be making all this money and realized like, actually, I'm doing really great working the 3 hours a day because that's what I want. I want to be here for my kids. And I think society makes us choose. And I really, really believe that you can have it all. You just have to be really intentional. Okay, so one word answer because we're out of time. So last one, I want everyone to really sit with this. For the women in this room who have been nodding along all morning, who was me 8 years ago, who recognizes herself in everything we're talking about, but walks out and still does nothing. What is she actually choosing? And what does that cost her? Okay, I'll give you 2 words.
She's choosing to lose herself.
No growth.
Yes.
Not herself.
Yeah.
So at Founders, and if you're friends with me, I won't let you sit and not move. If you tell me you want to do something, I'm going to be the annoying friend that's going to push you to do those things. And so that's what I want this room to be for you as well. So if this is something that you're stirred in, you're thinking about, please come talk to any one of us. There's things that there's tools, there's resources, there's free tools, there's resources, there's things that we're doing and putting together to support you in this. But your biggest thing I want you to remember is that A, you have permission to build it the way you want to build it, and B, you don't have to do it by yourself. So Molly, can you bring up the flowers for the ladies? Thank you so much for just being vulnerable and honest. I know that sometimes these are hard conversations because we would like to have everyone think that we're doing this perfectly all the time, and that's just not real.
No.
So thank you, ladies, for sharing your journey with us. And Molly has a little flowers for you. Yeah, let's give them a big round of applause.
Great job. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you. And then what I want to leave you, what you guys can.
Okay.
Thanks, Jen.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh, how do I?
What I want to leave you with today, and I want you to just read these questions